This was the perfect exhibition of money no object, stop at nothing, like we are going to do this. Well, I suppose they say records are meant to be broken, and one of mine just was. As of last weekend, 28 hours and 50 minutes is no longer the fastest time to drive from New York to Los Angeles. My Cannonball record has been broken, and before you go scrubbing ahead in this video, I'm not here to say who it was or how fast they went. I'm really just here to say that it happened, to concede, hopefully as gracefully as I'm capable of, and to kind of let you know what that means, because it was an amazing thing to watch, and fortunately it didn't come as a surprise to me. It was from some guys that I knew had this goal in the same way that I did years ago, and they told me about it. And in fact, it's a couple of guys that I introduced to each other years ago. In fact, the whole thing is really a consequence of the way that I have lived my life since 2013 with the goal of building a community, a fraternity of lunatics, of the people that actually still care about the idea of Cannonball. And so I certainly believe that I did this to myself, and I'm okay with that, because especially when I look back at recent events like the last C2C Express that we just ran, and the story of that more comprehensively is coming up on our channel in a couple of weeks, but that was such an amazing experience, maybe even more fun than the act of setting the record, because I've built so many relationships through the craft of Cannonball and through talking about what's really possible that never would have happened if that hadn't been kind of the shift in paradigm. Not to diminish who Alex Roy was, or Dave Maher, or Richard Rawlings, or Dennis Collins, or the guys from Cannonball US Express, but there was always this little, am I better, are you better, or are we being secretive and developing ideas here in the dark? And I didn't want that to be the case, and I'm so glad that I don't have to wonder if they did it. I got to kind of watch from the sidelines and see how it all happened, and honestly, I couldn't be any happier for them. When I did it, it was such a cathartic end to a decade of preparation and dreaming and goal setting, and honestly a dark time in my life, and it was one of the most cathartic experiences that I could have ever imagined, just to actually reach that finish line. And it's changed my life in ways that I never would have imagined. I mean, it became a much larger story than I ever thought it would be, and it was part of the platform that allowed us to understand what might be beneficial to a community with VINwiki, and it's probably about 10% of the content that we release here on the YouTube channel. And so I'm so glad to have been kind of in the epicenter of this amazing explosion of community. Because when I was looking at the prospect of trying to beat 31 hours and 4 minutes, Alex Roy and Dave Maher's record, there was no evidence at all that anyone had tried. Now we've got the 2904 and C2C events where we're having dozens of cars going across in competitive ways, but we're also seeing so many more solo attempts happen. I mean, the last 3 months we've had 6, 7, 8 different attempts at 2850, and obviously the most recent one was successful. And I knew that at some point it was going to be beaten. As flattering as it always was to hear people say, nobody will ever be able to go faster than that, I always knew that anything is possible. And now that we're 6 years later, and I was already using a very used car, stringing together every dollar I had to try this in my 20s, this was the perfect exhibition of money no object, stop at nothing, like we are going to do this. And everything I dreamt of doing but could never have possibly afforded, they did. And so they took all the countermeasures and that extra step further. Things that I saw in catalogs and never could have gotten the credit card out for, they had. And so where we used an AMG Mercedes, they used an AMG Mercedes, and with about twice the horsepower, we had 4, kind of 5 spotters. They had way more than that. They had all the surgical precision that anybody could ever dream of, and it was truly a dream team that surrounded these guys to make it possible. And so it was an unfathomable thing to watch. I'll say, fortunately, they didn't beat us by the same 2 hour and 14 margin that we beat the previous record, but it was a significant and truly unbelievable thing to watch. I mean, their segment averages were mind-blowing, and where most of the things in terms of weather, traffic, construction, accidents, cop activity, things like that went perfectly for us, also went perfectly for them. They did see some adversity, and they overcame a lot, and that'll make for an amazing story. And that's really what it's all about. It's what VINwiki is all about. It's the story of how cars and drivers meet, and how much that adds to both. how much cars add to our lives and how much drives like this add to what a car is. I mean, the CL55 will always be a car that means so much more to me in every possible metric than Kelley Blue Book would ever say it's worth. And so I know that the car they drove will never be sold either, and I'm so glad to see another just phenomenally prepared car. So well done to them, congratulations. And I'm not here to bicker about evidence or anything like that. I'm proud to have been a part of it. I'm proud to be a part of the story, and I'm most of all just proud for them to be able to tell their story and to just transform the mindset of what's really possible along these routes. Now, what I will say is the route was not the same. Fortunately, they did go from the Red Ball to the Portofino, and I applaud them for that. That was the right way to approach it, given the history and the nod to Cannonball days of old. But they went north. They went mostly along I-80, the way that the 2904 originally would have routed towards San Francisco. But because there have been some roadway improvements since 2013 when we did this, that was actually a faster route, offered them a bit of an advantage. And so who knows, maybe I'll always be the fastest to ever drive along the more traditional I-40 Cannonball route. I think the 32-hour and 5-minute time that we won the 2015 2904 with from the Red Ball to Portofino will probably stand as the competitive event record to those points, because nobody's made any plans to do another competitive event like that. Nobody's even crazier than us to be the facilitator of something like that. But it has been an unbelievable honor. It has enriched my life in ways. And, you know, I know that for Alex Roy, we've talked a lot about this since then, that when he was in this moment, which I have dealt with the last few days, and really it's a mixed bag of emotions. I'm not going to say it's been easy. I'm not going to say it's not a happy thing, but it's been sad, but at the same time, it's been great to celebrate that this was what the community of Cannonballers coming together made it possible to achieve. But to have that happen really does help to redeem it. And we've got a lot of other great things going on. There's a lot of fun cars in the garage other than the CL55. VINwiki's doing great, growing fast, and I guess soon we're going to eliminate the 993 spot when one of you win it, so I'll have to find something else to fill that before too terribly long. But of course, the logical question, and the question honestly I've gotten ever since we said it back in 2013 is, Ed, are you about to go try to beat their record? And the answer continues to be no. I have gotten so much out of being a part of this community, being whatever leadership sometimes it needed, and watching it become such a cohesive thing of people that come from all different walks of life. That has been my reward. I never thought that I would hold it at all, much less forever. I always knew somebody would beat it at some point. Didn't necessarily think it was going to be last week, but these things happen. And so I'm not out there planning to do it again. Obviously, I've done some of these cheap car, whatever races, and those are a blast, and we're not going nearly as fast, taking any kind of risks like that. But it's been a great part of my life, and at this point to try again, it would be kind of everything to lose with really nothing to gain. I can't imagine feeling more a part of the community of Cannonball enthusiasts than I do, and I've got my story out there here in my book and everything else that's been done with it. And so I'm good, I'm happy, and I couldn't be any happier for them. And so most of all, I just want to thank them for doing it safely. The track record of safety for the pursuit of driving fast across the country is immaculate. There's never been an accident involving another car. It's a phenomenal thing, and with all the human vehicle miles that are represented by the idea of Cannonball, that's been the record. So I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud of everybody who's ever done this, and I love that we get to call each other brothers in this crazy fraternity of lunatics. But most of all, I want to thank you guys for watching Cannonball content, bringing it more into this realm of public awareness. It's been an honor to make a good percentage of our VINwiki content Cannonball related, because when I was out there trying to figure this stuff out, it just didn't really exist. And so I'm so glad that we've had the platform to share the stories, to share the ideas, to share the dreams, and sometimes even to see them come together. So thank you so much for supporting everything that is Cannonball. We'd like to thank Avalon King for their continued support of the VINwiki YouTube channel. Obviously, I've installed it onto my Porsche 993, which one of our app users is going to win once we hit 1 million subscribers. I've got it on the LP640, and it's performed flawlessly in both cases. The cars are much easier to clean, the finish looks a lot better, and I've really been impressed with it. So we're going to do some more experimentation with the ceramic coating this month, but please do check out the link in the description below, enter the code VINwiki for a discount, and thank them for supporting your favorite YouTube channel.